This is Extra Paycheck Podcast, episode number 115.
You're listening to Extra Paycheck Podcast, where you will learn how to build and grow your own successful online business. Now, here's your host, Alex Soul.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast. This is episode number 115, and today we will be talking about email marketing, Autoresponder series, and email campaigns. Today's specific question comes from Jeff, who is the owner of newmiddleclassdad.com, and Jeff is asking, how many emails do you have in your Autoresponder series? And when you send an email outside of the series, what is the best way to ensure that you're not sending that email at the same time as autoresponder emails? Great question, Jeff. Thank you for sending it in. And if you folks have any questions about online marketing, internet marketing, blogging, any sort of that jazz, simply head over to my blog, theextrapaycheckblog.com, and leave a comment there or send me an email, and I'll try to get back to your question on this very podcast. So let's get back to Jeff's question. Well, there are a few things that I like to kind of branch out into and explain to people that might not be exactly sure what we're talking about here. So when you start building your email list, you're using an autoresponder of some sort, which means that you could build an automated campaigns of emails that get sent out to your readers, to your subscribers at very specific delays or, specific time of the day. Even you can do that if you want. So what happens that when someone signs up to your email list, they get a very first email, which is usually what we call a welcome email that tells them about your list, your newsletter, your website, about yourself. You put whatever you want in there. And then with time, people get other emails that you have pre-written in advance. And you could set different delays on them. I think I have it set to be sent out every day or every second day, something like that. But sometimes when I want to share some kind of a news or deal with my subscribers, I might send them an email, which is called a email blast, which is kind of outside of the sequence. It's not an automated email. I write it and I send it, and it goes out to everyone on my list, regardless when they join. So it's really, really different and separate from the automation email, from the actual autoresponder series. Let's put it that way. Okay, so let's get deeper into Jeff's question. How many emails do I have in my autoresponder series? That's a good question. At this point, I have 11 automated emails, and the first 5, they're my actual free 5-day course to online marketing, and they're being sent one after another, 1 email per day. After that, I have another 6 different emails, which are being spread out a little bit. Some are sent 2 or 3 days apart. Some are sent even 4 to 5 days apart, because I don't want to bombard my subscribers with my emails, and I don't want to send them an email every single day, except the initial 5 emails, which are the core of my free course. Although I only have 11 emails in that autoresponder series or in that sequence right now, I am always adding more emails to it. So when I just started building that list, I only had the initial 5, but then I added another email and then another one and then another one. So whenever I write a blog post, which I think will help a lot my subscribers, which will be very, very useful, I might include an email promoting that very post and take the email list subscribers to that post. One of the emails in the sequence is about the podcast. So I'm introducing my podcast to my subscribers, because a lot of people, when they come to your website, and if they do subscribe to your email list, there is a chance that they're not going to come back to your website every single day, and they're not going to know exactly everything you do. So if you want to show them something new, to present them with something different, you send them an email. So this is why I added an email in that sequence telling people about my podcast, so they could find it, they could listen to it, and so on. And I have a few other different emails that either talk about some case studies that I've done in the past, or they help with something very specific, let's say how to choose a niche, and a few other different things. Now, when the time comes to send an email blast, so a separate email that's not within that autoresponder series, I don't usually break my head with it, to be honest, because whenever I want to send that, it's either some very important news or there's a huge sale or huge deal going on, and I want the people to know about it right now. So if someone received an autoresponder email from me this morning or whatever time, then I don't really mind if they receive a second email on the same day, as long as that email is relevant and somewhat urgent, because I think that's actually how you get those things out to people. You shouldn't care about it too much. And that's my personal experience and opinion. It wouldn't apply to everyone, but it has worked greatly for me. Now, what I've seen happening is that sometimes when I send that blast, some people unsubscribe, and that's fine because they're not interested in what I'm sending. Well, I don't want them to be on my list. That's totally fine. Now, sometimes I get a few people, and it's very rare, but it happens, that they actually report that email as spam, which kind of sucks because, it's not spam. You signed up to my newsletter. You agreed that you are going to receive news and updates from me. I run a double opt-in, so the person who signs up to my list actually, first of all, receive a confirmation email that tells them, are you really sure you want to sign up to this list? And they click on yes. And only after that, they start receiving my sequence and my email blasts whenever I do them, which happens maybe twice a year, if not only once. And as I just mentioned, if you don't like that email from me and if you think it's too promotional, simply unsubscribe. No need to mark it as spam. I do that as well when somebody sends me an email blast and I'm not interested in that product or whatever they're promoting, or I don't care about it. I simply unsubscribe, as simple as that. Now, there are a few things that you should think about when you're sending an email blast, and I can't tell you for all the different autoresponder providers, but I looked at this option in MailChimp. It's pretty straightforward, and there's actually a lot of options that you could use to do that. So whenever you want to create a campaign, an email campaign that is not autoresponder, that is not automated, you have a choice of sending that email to your entire list, meaning every single person on it, even if they just signed up 3 seconds ago, they'll receive that email. Or you could send it to a segment or a group of your subscribers, which, you could create a brand new one, or you could send it to a saved or pre-built segment if you already have one. And MailChimp offers you some pre-built options of segmentation. So in my case, if I'm sending an email blast specifically promoting a product or a service of any sort, I don't want it to be too spammy, especially for people who just signed up to my course, who are brand new, who are completely fresh, and who aren't even sure what they're signing up for and what I'm offering. So I would exclude people that haven't received at least the first 5 emails from me before sending a blast. And it's just a few clicks of a button if you're using MailChimp. And I'm sure most other autoresponder providers, they have the same option, the option of segmentation and only sending your email blasts to a very specific group or segment of people. So I'm looking right now as I'm talking to you on this podcast, I'm looking through the dashboard on MailChimp, and I see I could segment people here by automation activity, by campaign activity, by contact rating, meaning that if people don't open your emails ever, they simply wouldn't receive your email blast if you don't want them to receive it. There's conversation activity, meaning that only people who ever reply to your emails will receive that blast. You could also segment them by the date that were added to your list, by their email clients, by language, location, so many different things. So this is something I can't really tell you what is the best way to go about it, but you have to think about it. So who do you want on your list to receive your emails? Now, unfortunately, Jeff was asking if there's a way to make sure that people don't receive your email blast at the same time as they're receiving your automation email. And I think what he really means is that, he doesn't want them to receive it the same day or maybe a few minutes or a few hours between each other. And I don't see that option. I'm sure there is a way to kind of do it somehow. And once again, maybe a different email provider will help you with that. I'm not sure how to do it with MailChimp, but once again, that's not something that I personally would worry about. I would just make sure that people who are really, really fresh to my list will not receive that email, because then it becomes just spammy in my opinion. If I signed up for a free ebook or free course or anything free really, and I get bombarded with sales emails on the very first day or even in the first few days, I wouldn't be happy with it, to be honest. I would unsubscribe right away. And this is exactly the reason I'm not doing that to my subscribers, because I wouldn't like that being done to me. So once again, most of the email providers will offer you a whole bunch of different options on segmenting your list and sending those email blasts to only very specific groups of people on your list, depending on when they were added or what kind of activity they've been going through on your list. But that's something for you to decide, and that's something for you to figure out. And I guess that's part of the whole marketing work that we do here. You have to figure out what's right for your list. You have to figure out what's the best way to go about your subscribers. And as already said several times, in my opinion, I wouldn't want to spam my new subscribers because any promotional email at the very, very beginning does feel like spam a little bit. And that's not something we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to build trust, and we're trying to get people to like our emails and to like our content. So think about that and try to figure out what is the best way to go for your subscribers, for your specific list, for your specific product, service, or content. Once again, Jeff, thank you for asking this question about email automation. I think that's a great question. Anyone listening to this podcast, if you have any other questions about online marketing, please don't hesitate. Head over to extrapodcast.com/115. This is where I'll be putting up show notes page for this very episode, and this is where you will be able to ask any questions related to this specific episode or anything really online marketing related. And if possible, I'll record a whole podcast episode on it. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please head over to extrapodcast.com/iTunes in order to subscribe to the show, leave a rating and a review, which will help tremendously. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next Monday.